When I reach the center of the earth, let there be someone with me. All of us must bear the world's weight, but not alone. And so when I return at last to this same hour and this same place, let there be someone raising even the emptiness in their hands towards me. When I was a teenager, I used to write poems about how I didn't fit in, like no teenager ever fits in. And now that I'm much older, I want to celebrate what we have in common, rather than what separates us. And it's this kind of humanity and sharing that if we can get in touch with it, with each one of us, call it love, call it friendship, or just neighbourliness, kindness, then we can be much stronger than any corporate, any government, and we can in fact make changes in the world. People often talk about what happens after we die, is a life after death and things like that. And I'm more concerned of if there's a life before death. And I want to make the most of that life and to share it with friends and just with people that I meet. And I think that's what I've tried to say in that poem, that if we can share and make the moments worthwhile, then we can enjoy being alive. And if we can do that, that's as good as it is going to get. As Maggie strode along, she promised herself that when she reached the top of the slope, she'd be stepping into the brightness of the very sky itself. Ahead, she could see the roof of the National Gallery outlined against a cloudless blue. And then the sweeping curve of the mound with the Bank of Scotland building so grand at the top, and beyond, the castle itself with its upward tumble of walls and battlements shimmering in the heat. Edinburgh seemed shaped by the sky, and the sky itself by the city. And for a moment, everything seemed possible, and the future hers. One day I was having a very, very terrible day. My wife had been diagnosed with cancer, and a publisher was going to take me to court for alleged defamation and was going to sue us and take our house away, he hoped. It was a very bad day, and I remember sitting on the couch and feeling as low as it is possible. And then suddenly these words came into my head. You are walking on the deck of a ship. You walk up and down and up and down. And I had no idea what they were about, but I knew it was the beginning of something. I wrote them down and just tried to see where they led me to. And gradually I found, because I had been thinking to myself, how did my life get in how did our lives get in such a terrible position? I was actually writing about my mother when she carried me as an unborn child within her. The story of Ghost Moon is that my mother, she was walking up and down a ship because she had been pregnant but unmarried, and her family had thrown her out. This was in 1949. Her family had thrown her out on the streets, and she was trying to survive. And the first thing she did was to panic and go as far away from Edinburgh as she could, and she got onto a ship. And I remember her telling us about this. And then most of the rest of the novel is her story and her courage as how she survived and did everything to bring me to birth and then to make a life for us both. And she had to do this at a time when the society condemned her and did not help and just gave her such a rough time for years and years and years. But she continued and eventually survived. And our family started, and then my own family started. And my imagination had taken me back to that very first moment before I was born to show me how life can go on. I walked one day with a friend and he pointed into the sky and said, I sometimes try to think of a name for the moon when it is during the day we see it. There isn't a name, a special name for it. And I suddenly thought, ghost moon. You know, it's a ghost and there it is, moon, ghost moon. And then when I came to write this novel, I found that Maggie, the main character, at one point she's pushing the pram with her young child in it, and they see a ghost moon one afternoon, and she just says, oh, that is where we are going to. And she begins to go faster and faster and says, we are going to go up to the ghost moon and we are going to live there because all the rest of society isn't there, all the problems aren't there. There's only you, there'll be me, and there'll be the man I love, just the three of us living there, and it will be a wonderful place for us all. Turning into the next street, she could see the moon directly ahead of them, set high above the roof of a large townhouse. And against the clear-cut outline of bricks and chimneys, it looked like an unfinished sketch, a hastily drawn scribble of light that might dissolve at any moment. But faster and faster towards it they went, her feet no longer touching the pavement. We're rising up now, Tom. Feel it? Treading air, she rose higher and higher.